you know. Came from Detroit, man, but I went down there for the draft, man. Went down there doing music. So I got to start this season two of them while I was in Detroit. So when we get back, me and my wife, we start watching it together. And I love the theme of them. It's a great theme. Why is it a great theme? Because what it's showing is everything ain't on the surface. What something or some a people could be doing to somebody could be spiritual. And that's the name of the game. All of this stuff isn't it isn't something that you can see on the surface. Sometimes it's spiritual, and then sometimes it's mental. So let's just say somebody for a long time was playing a mental, physical, and spiritual game with you. This is how them shows like how you can just be mean and aggressive towards someone for so long that they're just scared. And that takes a lot of that fear takes a lot of the spirit out of the man or the woman. And this is what we witnessing in the black community, man. Somebody that's taking the spirit out of a people. Something that's taking the spirit out of a people. The American experience for African Americans has been the worst in the world of history, the world history. Like we read about these Israelites in this book. But what you're looking at today with these African Americans, the ones that came from the slaves, the ones that came from the indigenous people, what you're looking at from these people is spiritual attacks that have not been witnessed since biblical times. You're looking at a biblical people. These black African Americans, you're looking at the indigenous peoples of then, the Africans of then, and they mixed them all together and they terrorized these people. And then they freed them and still terrorized these people. Then in 1964, they was like, okay, we'll be civil. We won't hang you from trees and you know, have picnics around you. We'll be civil. So that's what I'm saying, man. Like the story of them, it shows like how the attacks and the spiritual attacks, like when people, um, uh, uh, the Bible calls it pollution of the heart. Pollution of the heart. That's what Jesus came to fix. That's why Jesus was like, oh, I understand why Moses put divorce in the law, because you hard-hearted dudes. So Jesus came to restore the heart of lost people. That's what Jesus came to do. Jesus didn't come to restore somebody who's already restored. If you've already been restored, then Jesus ain't talking to you. Jesus was talking to people who have not been restored. I like when I talk about Yahshua the Christ, or I talk about Jesus, whatever you call um, the one that you serve. When I talk about Jesus and I talk about a restoration of the heart, black African Americans, when you look at them and you look at the way that you have been terrorized in this country through fear, like somebody just coming in your house in the 90s on the war on drugs, just busting in your house. You ain't even do nothing. Just busting in your house, slamming your kids against the wall, then leaving and say, oh, we got the wrong address. Oops, sorry. And we're not gonna give you no money to fix none of this. We know you broke, and we're gonna go on about our business. That's how people will terrorize when you go back to the 70s, when you go back to the 50s, when you go back to the 60s. There's a lot of terror. The thing is, before this, it wasn't even no cameras. Imagine what was happening when there were no cameras to show what was happening to America. So all the terror that you've experienced has done something to your spirit. Your spirit, man, your spirit. Oh boy, look at here. Let me find y'all something. So I went to Christian counseling school after I became a born again Christian 5 years ago. And I learned something about the three-part man. And that's the body, which is the lowest level. So if you're just operating on your senses, like a man touch you, it feels good. A woman touch you, it feel good. She smell good. He smell good. All of that stuff, like sense-based. That's when you operate in your body. And then you got your soul, that's your ego, that's your emotions, your feelings. All of this is crafted from who you were before you got here and who your parents were and the influence is in your life to this point. All of that encompasses your ego, your emotions, your feelings. This is how you move in your life. That's your soul. But you were somebody before you even knew your parents. You came here with a God spirit, but you came here with a soul. This soul was who you were before the beginning. You was, I believe in reincarnation. So when we talking about the soul, man, this is who you've been since the beginning of the times. So the soul can be influenced by the people that you are around in your early ages, parents, grandparents, all of this. So then we got the spirit man. The spirit man is like your Bluetooth connection to God. So when you out of touch with God, your spirit man be jacked up. Like if you live in a state of fear, or if you live in a state of trauma, like a lot of people that I deal with have been molested, and I be talking to them like, okay, I understand you've been molested. I understand what it was. I understand that it was wrong. But when will you forgive? And then they usually be like, well, you don't know what they did to me. I said, I can't refute that. I know what them people did to you. But in order to get back in touch with God, that thing that traumatized you, you're gonna have to forgive the situation. Say, look, I was too young to do anything about it. My parents, maybe they weren't equipped to handle it. You're gonna have to find a way to forgive. And it's not for them. It's so you can get back in touch with spirit man. But what's been happening to people of my diaspora, because like I say, again, we are a people. When you watch the show, man, you see that the level of fear that have been playing to the people. How you doing, man? When you look at the show, when you see the levels of fear that have been playing on the people, that interrupts their spirit man, your Bluetooth connection. So it's like somebody cutting off your Bluetooth connection to God through fear. Like it's a lot of black people, man, they be traumatized. Like I came from a place in Houston called Greens Point. They're like the worst apartments in Greens Point. Terror, bro. And I came out of that, man, and I can go into terroristic environments in my life right now and not even be in fear. I just be like, oh, but I'm walking around like I'm just normal. Like I don't walk around in fear. But some people, they move in fear because of something that traumatized them at a very young age. And it interrupts your spirit man. So some people, in a sense, be thinking that they talking to God, but if you've experienced that trauma, if you've experienced that level of trauma, if you have not dealt with it, you don't know who the hell you talking to. Because every prayer that go up for God, remember the devil listening too. So devil interrupts the spirit man. So when we talking about people that have been molested, especially men, the man does not know how to deal with disruption of the spirit. When you interrupt the spirit through molesting a little boy, he does not know how to think straight anymore. It disrupts his spirit man because of the trauma. So the little boy can't understand how to be a man because of the thing that happened to him. And sometimes and this is not a sometimes thing, when something is introduced to the body, we don't get to control if we like it or not. If the body likes it, the body will keep it because the body is animalistic in its nature. So if the body likes the abuse, well, now there's a disruption in the soul. And so now the soul is in conflict with the body and the spirit man. I tell you, it's a three-part man, but the soul is in the middle of all of this. Who we are. When you die, your soul leave. When you die, your soul leave. Your soul go be back with the spirit man that it always knew. And you get to be around God and God's full spirit. But when you come down to this earth, you're detached. from the spirit. So you have to keep your connection to the spirit. So when you didn't deal with when you didn't deal with that level of abuse, like a lot of people who didn't deal with that level of molestation or trauma or things in their life, they get through life a lot faster. But these people that experience this trauma, they're usually held back. So I did a video on hypnosis a couple years ago, man. I'm probably gonna post this video on YouTube because I did this before I wrote my book. But I had been holding on to something that happened to me as a child. And through hypnosis, it helped me identify why I was not moving forward or why I was reacting a certain way to certain situations, like triggers. And it was so real, bro. Like when I came up in my childhood, for the people who don't know, my mom was in a really abusive relationship. And I was about, I think I was between 8 or 10, man. I can't remember the ages or whatnot. But through the age of 10, man, I watched this man terrorize my household, just terrorize the household, man, as a child. And I come home one day, and it's blood all over the walls, man. It is blood all over the walls, man. I'm terrorized. How you doing, sir? And so I'm terrorized, man. I'm running through the house like to see if my mom is dead or alive. Like, it's like, man, this man killed my mama, man. He's just like watching these walls, man. Every time you turn to a different wall, man, there's blood on the walls, handprint smeared, and you just like. So I get to my mom's room and she gone. And so I run down to my aunt's house. They say, oh, your mama had a fight with Ray, and she in the hospital. He cut her wrist. He cut her wrist. So my mom was trying to fight him with a blade and cut her wrist. And my mama went right back to that dude. And this is when it was over for my mama, when she finally was like, okay, I gotta leave him now. Like after he done cut her wrist and almost killed her, and she praising him like a savior because he got her to the hospital, he ended up wrapping a chain around his hand later on and punching her in the mouth. And that's when she was like, oh, okay, maybe for the sake of me and my children, I need to leave. And in that moment, we were saved, but you're not saved from the trauma, man. You are not saved from the trauma. You might forget about it, but you're not saved. So when I went through hypnosis, what I was finding out is I felt like a coward all this time. I don't know why I would have this cowardly feeling, man. And I would be doing things to not feel like a coward. Like get mad at people and try to fight people because I didn't want to feel like a coward. And I'm doing this because of something that happened a long time ago, because then I was 10 years old. But now I'm 6'4". I'm 240 pounds, baby. I can smash on a lot of people if I wanted to. But I chose to be a better person. I said I didn't like what happened to my mom, so I don't want to be that person. But what I'm understanding about abuse is when it happens and the children get to see the abuse, sometimes the boy sees his father or the father figure doing this to the mom, and he say, well, hell, I guess that's the way to control a woman when her mouth get out of line. Instead of him taking it like I took it, like I don't want to hug no woman out like that, man. I ain't gonna do that. But that's a trauma that's attached. I remember talking to my grandmother, man, my granny, man, years before she had passed, man, and I'm just trying to understand because I was doing genealogy. I wanted to know about my grandfather, man. I didn't know both of my grandfathers. They died at a very young age. And I was just asking my grandmothers about my grandfathers. And so when I asked my granny, that's my dad's mom, about my grandfather, she was like, whoo, boy, he used to say nigga. He called everybody a nigga. Everybody was a nigga in your dad's eye. Light-skinned Frenchman, man. Had a real potty mouth. Kind of how I talk today. But I'm trying to clean up my mouth for the sake of, doing this YouTube thing full time. But they say she said, woo, he loved them women. Woo, he used to cheat. Man, I'm talking about if they stayed on the second floor, my dad would be cheating. My grandfather would be cheating with the woman right downstairs. Like, did not care. Did not care. He's like, as long as I got the bills paid, do not question me. That was one grandfather. Then I go talk to my grandmother about my mother's mother about, about my grandfather. This was an upstanding man. Everybody, oh man, your grandfather's just a great human being. And he was like the person one of the people that was the glue of the things that held the family together, man. But we lost him when my mom was 7 years old. So these are generational curses. What I found out doing my genealogy is I had 3 grandfathers that died in early 40s, early 30s. Early 40s, early 30s, what I found out by my genealogy, that men on one side of my family died extremely early. Extremely early. That's why I be on these walks, man. Because I know this side of the family got heart problems. This side of the family got heart problems. So I already know I got to protect my heart. I got to get out here and walk. I got to eat a little bit better than what this situation called for, man. So I got to make better choices for myself. That's what I got to understand about me. When I talk about the show Them, it's talking about things that if you do not handle these things, you're going to pass this shit spiritually to your children. Like, let's just say when men get molested and they be so fucking angry because they got molested, they say they think the anger is gonna make that feeling go away. But it's not. It's not. Nothing's gonna make that feeling go away unless you put that anger up. God can't do nothing with that anger, dog. There's nothing God can do with anger. I used to be so angry, bro. From like that, watching my mom get terrorized by that man and me becoming a big, strong man. I realized that some of these boys that got molested as little boys, and now that they're grown men, they are taking on the personality of the person that did that thing to them. And this is why it's dangerous to molest a boy, because a boy gonna become a man. And if a boy becomes a man still attached to that trauma, it's a lot of stuff that come with it. Hypersexuality, that's why these men be having sex with a whole bunch of women. They try to feel like a man. They try to run it up to feel like a man. But then they have sex with all these women. They say, shit, man, I'm more empty than I was before back then. Because I ain't never experienced molestation, but hypersexuality, that was me. Because I had to feel tough. This made me feel like a man. But when I just had to sit back and God was like, you a man. I was like, what? He was like, you a man. You are a man. Stand up, you a man. You got authority. Go ahead and go live and be a man. And so then, when women will try to shame me, man, you can't shame me and tell me what a man's supposed to be doing. You ain't never walked in the shoes of a man. And I keep on moving. I don't let nobody shame me out of my position of a man, because I know it's a lot of people. They'll talk bad about a man, but they'll never be a man. They be like, well, I don't want to do that. So I don't let nobody fool me out of my position as a man. But we have in the black community today, how you doing? A lot of black men, older black men that grew up with a lot of trauma. And we're adapting their qualities, and their qualities wasn't even good. They were just doing stuff that made them feel like a man. Like, man, if I cook for my family and I don't even be eating when they eat. They eat, man, I don't even be hungry. I just be liking to watch people eat. I don't feel like less of a man because I know how to cook and I know how to serve my family. I don't feel like less of a man. That's your problem. I know how to clean my house, because guess what? I was cleaning my house before I even got a woman. So I don't feel like less of a man because I'm cleaning the house. I work at my company that I started on my own. I get home, and if my wife can't do it, if she's sick, I'm gonna pick up the fucking load. Because guess what? I was doing that before I got married. I don't feel like less of a man because I have to take care of my family in another way that doesn't feel manly, like washing dishes, and cleaning up the house and washing clothes. It don't feel manly, but the shit gotta be done. The show must go on. But some men feel less of a man if they gotta do this work. I don't have no judgment, man. God told me go out and be a man. A man gonna do what needs to be done. And I get out here and do this shit, and I don't be complaining. Like I don't be understanding men today. I don't get it. But when I watch them and I watch these spiritual attacks that the black community has suffered. I'm talking about super suffered. You done suffered worse 10 times, a million times than anybody else on this planet. And I said planet. Because you had to work for free. Ain't nobody can tell you they had to work for free for 500 years. Ain't nobody. Because after that 400 years, they just put you in servitude for another hundo. When they freed you in the 1800s, and the people in Texas 2 years after the freedom, guess what? They didn't teach you how to read. So they put you back into servitude again, so you sign back contracts. This is a different, man, I'm talking about, this is how you get men and women at odds. You take all the money away from the man, take it all up. This is for years. And the woman just gotta love you in your brokenness. Like your pockets broke, because you're in servitude. So they put the man in servitude for years, years, years. Y'all free, but y'all in servitude. So you was a slave, now you in servitude. Because you always going to be serving other nations. It's Deuteronomy 28, bro. Don't let nobody fool you. You them people. So, when I'm talking about them, dog, when I'm talking about spiritual attacks, when God talks about pollution of the heart, mean looks, lust, all that other stuff, when he's talking about this stuff, he says pollution of the heart. But black people, you don't really act like this. You just, they done took the spirit out of you. They took the spirit out. And they done replaced it with fear and uncertainty. Man, when I be hearing black women and black men talk about, man, I had a friend, man, I'm scared to have children in America. I'm scared for my children. Now, I know a lot of other ethnic groups can say that, but for African American, who do you call when you've been shitted on in America? For a black person, who do you really call? Not the Ghostbusters. They be like, I don't know why black men are scared to come to the hospital. Stop complaining about why we're scared and ask us a real question, and don't get mad when we answer the question. That y'all have been doing scientific tests on us from the beginning. When we were slaves, when there wasn't no cameras around, and then when the cameras showed up. Y'all been testing us. Y'all been doing scientific studies on us. Y'all been doing all types of ignorant shit to us. That's why we don't trust y'all. Hey, black women, ask this question. Ask this question, ask this question, ask this question. Go ask this question to all these medical professionals. Why do they know that black women can take more pain than anybody else on this earth? Why do they know that? You have to pick on prodding somebody a long time to figure that out. So when I be talking, man, I be talking about true freedom, not no fake ass freedom. Like, oh, we're free in America amongst our oppressors, the people that kidnapped us. I be like, hey, send us back to somewhere else so we don't have to be around y'all. Because y'all motherfuckers have been terroristic. Y'all be talking about the war on terror, bitch. We didn't experience the war on terror for 500 years. Send us back home, broski. Stop fucking around. Y'all said Joe Biden, Big Daddy Joe Biden, say he got enough money to fight wars for the rest of his life. So I don't know if he gonna live the next about 3 or 4 years. But thing is, give us some bread, nigga. Give us the bread. Give us the bread, send us away. And this is why I be asking for the bread, man. And let me be extremely honest with you at this point. I had a dream in 2019 that scared me out of my fucking sleep. And I saw the judgment of what was finna happen to America. And I said, boy, I'm finna get the fuck up out of here. I got 2 years and I'm gone. I'm not have no attachment to this shit. Because it's finna get goofy. And when I seen the judgment of this, I said, I'm gonna argue for niggas. Because ain't nobody took care of niggas. But they need to send niggas somewhere away from these niggas. Because what's finna happen to this country, we done seen enough, dog. We seen enough trauma from these people. It's time for us to get up and get the fuck on before they get their full judgment. And that shit coming. I seen motherfuckers jumping off buildings. When they saw what they saw, motherfuckers ran outside and jumped off of their goddamn buildings. When I seen the poverty and the famine, bro, when I seen people holding their kids, motherfucking kids down, I said, okay, let me get my people the fuck up out of here. Because I see the judgment for these people. Then you got a lot of fake ass Americans. Oh, I love America. When some shit pop off, they gonna be, oh, I'm from Europe. Oh, I'm from South America. Oh, they gonna get the fuck up out of here. Watch. I'm from Iran, but I'm an American. Them motherfuckers gonna get on a plane so fast and be gone. But guess where you can go, Black America? Nowhere. Because they said you was an American, but always treated you like 3/5. And when you treat somebody like 3/5, the person that is getting treated like 3/5 understands what 3/5 feels like better than anybody else on earth. That I can guarantee you. That I can guarantee you. When I be seeing black men, because I counsel black men. So when I be seeing the pain in these niggas' eyes, I just be looking like, oh brother, before I found God, I had that pain. I wouldn't cry for shit, bro. I wasn't crying. I'm talking about I lost my mama. I watched my mama shrink to 60 pounds. I watched my sister die from breast cancer. I'm just watching motherfuckers die. No crying, bro. I'm marching through thinking I'm being tough. And then I almost died, bro. Like my whole side of my body just locked up one day. And I was driving myself to the hospital and I had to sit in the hospital and I was like, what the hell is killing me? What is killing me? Cried out to God. Cried out. Man, God, get this pain up off of me. I can't, man, I don't know what's wrong with me. My body was dying. Man, I would be watching that pain in black men's eyes. I be seeing that anger, man. These little boys, they could be committing these crimes just fucking angry. When I learned what white folks did to us in 2013, I can't tell you the type of anger I had in my body, dog. And you got to get rid of that shit because ain't no God there. It's just anger. It's just more anger. God said, man, these people got all the weapons in the world. You will not beat them with anger. That's their fucking game. That's their God. They God fuck with anger. Vengeance is mine. Come pray to me and show you what I do with these motherfuckers. They ain't nothing compared to me. They got all the weapons. But them weapons like, man, I can snap my finger and shake the world and all the fucking weapons will be gone. Come with me. I'm talking about the real God. Because what God explained to me is that there's many gods, but it is only one true God. There's many gods on this earth, man. Stop playing. Stop playing. Because us as human, we're feeble-minded people, especially if you in your body mode and you're not in touch with your spirit, man. You gonna fall for anything. Like Tupac could be your God. And people be out here worshiping the thug life. For 50 fucking years, this nigga done moved on by this life. Tupac done probably been born again twice. And your ass still out here living in the fucking thug life. Nigga, for what? Nigga, for what? You, like, as humans, bro, we will worship anything. And yes, when you worship something, it becomes your God. So there are many gods. Don't you smell the spirit of Hitler in America? His spirit ain't never went away. People worship him as God. Come on, broski. We don't worship the God of these people. Come on now. Come on now. And so when I watched the show Them, especially at the end, when she pulled that picture back and that demon that the father did not solve, the demon is now on her. So I was talking to somebody I was counseling, and she was molested by multiple people as a child. And she said, you just don't know what they did to me. I said, okay. I do not know what these people did to you, but I know that it is disrupting your spirit. You cannot move on. She was having problems in her marriage, and the problems in her marriage stemmed from her childhood, from the parents never stepping up. And all of this shit is getting blamed on the husband. And I'd be like, you cannot blame that on him. That's your trauma to figure out for your children. But if you don't figure it out, you pass it to your children. Tag you it. And that's what them is showing you. Whatever, man, we have dealt with severe trauma in America. Black Americans have dealt with severe trauma. Just being an African American, being a nigga in America. You know, everybody in the world know you got that stain on you. Got the stain on me. Everybody know. Everybody know at any time, if they get mad at you, they can call you a nigga and get you all off balance. Everybody know that. What can you say to anybody else to really offend them? They got a country to go back to. Okay, call me Chinky Eye, bitch. I can go back home to China. I bet you that. That's how people really be thinking about you. So what I'm trying to get African Americans, people who came from descendants of slaves and people came from the indigenous people that were here, because what I found in my indigenous side was I had a grandfather that was already here that was Cherokee Indian. Already here. And then I saw the grandfather that came through on the slave side, came through Louisiana, slave side. So I got family that came in through Louisiana, and I got ancestors that come in through Georgia. Man, you better go learn about your people. Because that's the fine thing about learning about your people is you find out what these people that went through, and you find out how to solve for that generational curse that's gonna come back. When it got to come back. What we learned about slavery from the spiritual side is it stays in your blood, in the blood. You can't ignore the blood. It stays in your blood for 15 to 20 generations. So we're at the end of this cycle. Somebody's about to go into this slavery cycle. I think it's gonna be these Americans. But we're coming out of a cycle, but the cycle has to start over. That's how the world works. But my people, it's time for y'all to send us home, broski. And for all the people saying, well, we don't know how to, what reparations will look like. Well, let's tell you what it looked like. Everything you gave the country of Israel, get at to us. That's super easy. That was 1948. We see what y'all done in 75 years of helping somebody. Give us them 75 years. Give us all your government systems. Let us set up our own thing and get on away from y'all. Because I seen y'all judgment. I told you I've seen this judgment and shit don't look good. So, I just want to talk about them today. I'm going to chill by the water for a little bit. But I want to talk about them, man. It was like I really feel for black people in this country, man. I definitely feel for black women because they ain't got no muscles to protect themselves. And I definitely feel worse off for elders and children who cannot speak up for themselves. So when I be speaking this, man, I be speaking about my people. Now, if you want to join in on our struggle, fine. But I'm talking about my people. I ain't talking about nobody else on this earth. How you cut this thing off?